Hey everybody, how's it going? Timmeister here. Welcome back to Gasparilla County. We are going to be starting a brand new town in this map on the southeastern corner of the map. Now, I have a lot of family dotted all over the state of Florida, and every couple of years or so, I'll go down to see them on vacation. And I'm often driving between the east and the west coast, and there's a town that I always drive through called Arcadia. It's for sure a very small town. It kind of seems like your typical American quiet little town where all the neighbors know each other. It's very safe, very quiet. That's at least my impression of the town simply driving through it. I've never actually taken the time to stop and explore, but I have explored downtown a little bit on Google Maps. It looks very nice. There's some little shops and little, boutiques and stuff to explore. But overall, it looks like just your average, stereotypical American small town. And that's exactly what I was setting out to build in this episode. You know, after finishing St. Patricksburg, I was kind of wondering what is the next step. And I was just kind of exploring all over the state on Google Maps when I stumbled upon this tiny little town that I totally forgot existed. But upon looking at it a little bit closer, I figured, wow, this town is perfect. This is exactly what I'm going to build, as the landscape around this corner of the map is exactly identical. There's a little creek running through the area, and it fits and it ticks every box of what I was looking for this next build. You know, I was setting out to build just small town USA, and Arcadia seems to fit the bill. Now, if you live in the area, please give me any inspiration or any ideas, because I'm sure to be developing this area over the next couple of episodes. But for the most part, in this particular episode, I'm pretty much going to be finishing the town as a whole, as it's not going to be a massive project by any means, but I think it's still a very important project if I want to accurately represent what can be found in the south central area of Florida. So yeah, in this episode, we are going to be building a fairly accurate representation of Arcadia. And as you see me doing right now, we're going to start off with the road layout, which again, I am building exactly the same road layout as what can be found in the real town. And one thing that I think is probably one of the biggest industries in Arcadia is the fact that it's between two crossroads. Two major arterial routes heading north to south, east to west intersect right in the middle of town. And I'm sure this draws a lot of traffic through town, and it's probably a fairly decent chunk of its revenue. But exploring around Google Maps, there appears to be a lot more to that as well. You know, there's various shops, there's a Walmart, there's a municipal airport nearby, which I think offers some skydiving as well, if I'm not wrong. And there's a bunch of campgrounds, there's golf courses. There also appears to be a kayak rental place where you can explore the little creek running through town. I mean, there appears to be lots of things to do in town, despite it being very small. But, you know, I'm sure it still gets a lot of tourists, probably a lot of Canadians heading south from the Great White North. And after a little bit of work, this is my starting road layout. And with this done, we can finally start building the town. Alright guys, now that we have all of our rail and road infrastructure laid down, we're going to jump into some live play now, and we're going to plop all of our essential services to get the town going. And I'm going to start off with a small medical clinic. Now, I have no idea where all of these services are situated in the actual Arcadia town, so I'm basically just gonna guess and plop down our services as needed. So, medical clinic is down. Recycling, I'm not really gonna do anything for that. I guess we'll just rely on the system way out in on the other side of the map. For now, I might have to build a landfill or something in the vicinity. Now, we have a small high school that I guess I'm just going to plop. Let me see, let me check out the terrain just to be sure. Uh-oh, what do we have here? We have a little bit of an overpass going on. We don't necessarily want that. Let's just connect this up just like so. And I guess, yeah, I guess for the high school, I'll plop it over here, and may as well just fully upgrade this building with track and field in the back, and then we'll do, I guess, an extension wing on this side. And I guess I'll do a second one here. I mean, this will act as an extension wing, but I don't know, it can be some sort of community hall or something like that just across the street. So we got a high school now. Let's do a elementary school. I'm just gonna do a small one for now. And where do we want to plop this? I guess I'm gonna plop it somewhere around the same neighborhood. Let's do over here, and we are going to fully upgrade this building as well. Oh, actually, wait a minute, can I build? Okay, yeah, I'll do a gymnasium and then another extension wing over here. And this is actually really cool. This small elementary school looks very Florida-esque, you know, because it's very low-lying, very flat, you know, it's not like a 4-story building or whatever. And I mean, this high school as well, this could pass as like a more modern high school in Florida. So we'll just go with that. And that'll do it for education for now. I don't think we're gonna go for higher education in our small town just yet. Fire rescue, obviously very important. There might actually be 2 fire stations in this city because we have 2 options here. I like the default one. It's very, you know, small town America looking, but also the Dutch, oh, I keep wanting to say Dutch because of DE, but it's not. The German fire station would look beautiful within the downtown core. So I think I'm actually gonna do that. Let's plop it right here in downtown. I mean, this could pass really well for an American building, I would say. So we're gonna do that. And then what are we missing? Our police station. And again, I think I'm just gonna go for maybe a normal police station. I think actually a small police station should do the trick. And I'm gonna plop it right over here. Why is this preventing me? There, let's do that. And is there any kind of upgrades I can do? No, there is not, but that's fine. Small police station is a-okay for over here. And that pretty well does it for all of our essential services. However, I'm still going to want to plop a post office. And I'm just gonna start off with a small one over on this end of town, over here. Oh yeah, there is actually an upgrade for this one. And then I won't place any mailboxes right yet. And then let's do telecom. So it looks like one massive tower should do the trick for pretty much the whole town. And I'm just gonna plop it right over here on the outskirts of town. So you know all the high school and elementary school students will get the best signal in town. You know, that's a must. And there we go. That just about does it for our essential services. But this is not a small town America without a water tower. And you know what? I actually have no idea where the water tower in Arcadia is, if there even is one. But I'm gonna go ahead and plop one anyways. Actually, I should scope out the terrain first. Let's scope out the terrain. What would be the highest point in the town? I think it looks like it might be somewhere around the elementary school, but I mean, it really doesn't matter. I'm just gonna go for looks on this one, and I'm gonna build it. I'm gonna build it over here. There we go. Oh yeah, that certainly does look small town American. That's awesome. And okay, yep, so we have everything, power. We're still just gonna be importing electricity for now. I'll have to focus on actually building a power plant at some point on this map because it's gonna become very expensive to import all of this electricity, as I'm sure it already is. Let's check. Yeah, look at that, almost 600,000 a month in electricity import costs. So yeah, we're gonna want to address that pretty soon. All right, so the next part of this episode, we can jump right into zoning. And let's get started on that. All right, so we're gonna start with downtown. Downtown's gonna be very small, very quaint, and we are going to reserve this just to North American mixed housing. And I'm basically gonna go lot by lot here, just to make sure that our zones are very small in size. You know, I don't want massive buildings sprawling up. I know, of course, these buildings are eventually going to be upgraded to higher levels, but you know, I still don't want there to be like these massive buildings everywhere. So we'll get started with this, you know, maybe some little 2x2s, 3x4s, I guess. Sometimes 3x3s, you know, they don't really work very well with these types of zones. What about a 4x4? That might spawn a big building. I gotta be careful with that, but we'll see. And then let's not shy away from some medium density apartment buildings as well. And why not do some row housing as well? There, so we'll get started with that. Unfortunately, I ran out of medium density residential demand, so it's gonna take a bit for that to bounce back. But we can keep going here in the middle of our downtown and start zoning commercial. So from what I gather, the central business district, or the downtown area in Arcadia, is rather small. There's not much to it. There's like a few, you know, nice little boutiques and little shops and stuff downtown. It's really nice, but it is not very big. So the downtown is quick to dissolve into some more low-lying, you know, typical Floridian style commercial zones and such. So we're just gonna follow the trend with that. I'm gonna build a bunch of commercial businesses along these main roads, and let's make them all different sizes. Just like so. And then I guess mixed in between, we could do a number of smaller buildings here and there, you know, some smaller apartments, things like that. But then we don't have to go too far out of downtown to get into some plain old residential. And one thing I did notice though in Arcadia, the lots seem to be all kind of spaced out from one another. So, oh my god, I'm decimating my residential demand too already. Oh my god. But yeah, essentially, from what I've gathered, there's a lot of zones that tend to be quite spaced out. There, I guess we'll start off with this. So downtown, I'll keep it, you know, relatively dense. As dense as you can get it with just regular low density residential zoning. But as we move farther and farther out of downtown, then I'll just build some smaller and smaller lots. Kind of just like that. We'll leave some spaces in between. So I'm going to accelerate the simulation speed a little bit. There's no reason for me to just keep it on 1. It'll take forever to build anything. But in the middle here of town, so we have like this main avenue. Oh, look at that. We're already getting some buildings sprawling up in downtown. They're rather tall. They're a lot taller than what you would find in actual Arcadia. But, I mean, there's not much we can really do about that. I might convert this into row housing, though. We'll see how these buildings look. Yeah, not too bad, I guess. I might actually repurpose this lot into some row housing, you know, but we don't have any demand right now, unfortunately. And we don't have any demand in low density as well, so that's kind of a bummer. This is going to be a long episode, guys, if we can't get that demand up. But what's weird is we have like all of the commercial demand all of a sudden. I know I struggled so hard with that in the last few episodes, so I guess we can just go through here on Main Street and start plopping away with a bunch of businesses. And I'm gonna follow the same philosophy here with my commercial zones. I'm really gonna leave a lot of spaces in between a lot of these businesses. And let's make sure to build some office buildings as well, of the low density kind, of course. There, so I guess I'll just kind of line these main streets with commercial zoning just like this, pretty much from one end to the other of town. There, and I mean, can't we be afraid of leaving a bunch of empty lots in between these businesses? You know, we don't have to fill in every single square of the map, right? So we'll start with that. That pretty much decimated all of my demand, but look at that. Instead, we have a bunch of row houses that are finally getting built. I don't necessarily want any big ones to get built though, so I'm gonna build just some slightly smaller lots over here. I guess we could do the same over in this corner of the map. Just like that, and then we'll get a nice little downtown. So again, a little bit bigger than Arcadia in real life. You know, I don't think there's really any buildings that are this tall, but that is totally okay. And then what I'll do here is I'll build a few more row houses, just like this. Maybe one more small apartment in back here. And this will quickly dissolve into some low density residential, which we do not have any demand of right now, but that's okay. You guys get the point. Oh yeah, that's true. And we have some, I have a random set of utility transmission lines going through here. So we'll just be mindful of that. We won't place any houses directly under the lines. There. Oh, looks like my commercial demand bounced back. So what I'm going to do over here, unfortunately, this 4-lane road isn't playing very nice. Oh, well, maybe. Okay, it seems to be working now. I couldn't get it to center earlier, so let's, I'll just build it kind of like this, and then this little last segment there, I'll have it just in a highway configuration. And oh, we got a little bit of a hill here. I'm gonna pause the game real quick. I'm gonna delete this stretch of road, and let's flatten this out all nice and neat. And then let's fix this up. And now we have some zones along our main road, so I can build some more businesses. And what I'm going to do in the back here, so in real life, on this side, so assuming this is like north-south, on the eastern side of town is where you'll find all your big box stores like Walmart, and I think there's a few other big department stores. So I'm just going to block off this entire side of the road. I guess even... here, let's turn off snapping. I'm going to build a sidewalk just like this. So we're going to reserve all of this entire block here to some big box stores. You know, this is where your Walmarts and stuff would be. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. If I can get this to work. Sometimes it's a little tricky. There, that's quite all right. And one more big store. Then we can do some small little shops on the other side of the street. Just like so. I think that looks really nice. And I guess I'll do the same thing over here. There's no reason to have anything going on in the back of the street, just like so. So let's do some more small businesses. Perfect. So it's going to take a little bit of time before our town fully grows into its final form, but I think it's growing quite nicely so far. However, I am just realizing now that we are missing a cemetery. We're definitely going to want at least a crematorium in here, but you know what? This is down south. Plenty of cemeteries all over the state, so over here in our new town, which does not have a name at this point. I haven't thought of a name yet. So if you guys have any suggestions, leave me a comment down below. I guess, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe on the outskirts of town would be all right to have a cemetery. I don't know if there's really like a big cemetery in the actual town in real life. But, yeah, I think just over here would be all right. I'll do that. Wonderful, and may as well do a crematorium as well. Actually, so I've said this in what was it, last episode or a couple of episodes ago. The crematorium looks so much like a small town hall, and if I can find a spot to plop this somewhere in town, I think this would be a really cool addition. What about like right over here? This might be okay. Or can I find a spot like right on Main Street? Oh yeah, look at that right here. You know, this is not too far out of downtown. Or I could build it right here. That would demolish this entire lot, but I mean, this would look pretty cool. I think I'm gonna go for it. There. And then let's fully upgrade this building. May as well build the hearse garage as well. And we'll just say that this is another business just up the road. Look at that. Completely a separate building. It looks very American as well. So we'll do that. And also, I haven't really done it so far in this episode, but we can't shy away from parking lots, guys. This is small town USA. There is plentiful parking lots all over town. Maybe we can even do, you know, some bigger lots. Yeah, just like that. Beautiful. And then we can even plop down some bigger lots in a couple spots here and there. And look at that. We're shaping up pretty nicely, guys. Holy. What would you say? So yeah, I suppose at this point, I mean, how are we doing economically? We've taken a little bit of a hit. We're not really making that much money right now because I have so many services and, you know, for so few people. But over the next few minutes, I guess I'm just going to keep zoning, keep building up, and I'm going to go into time-lapse mode now, and you'll really get to see, get a sense of how quickly this city is going to grow. But look at this. I'm actually really liking the way this city's growing so far. It looks so, you know, classic small town USA. This is awesome, guys. I'm really excited. And we're going to have a ton of traffic coming through here as well, as we already do. And that is because this is a main artery coming in and out of town, right? This is connecting to the edge of the map, so there's a ton of through traffic coming through here, which is really exciting to see. Now, there's one thing I want to take care of right now before I forget. I don't necessarily want there to be street parking all throughout the town. Now, right in the city center is fine. So I guess whatever is in between these blocks is going to be okay as far as roadside parking, but like I said, I don't necessarily want there to be roadside parking everywhere. So kind of more on the outskirts of town, I'm going to remove parking. Same thing along these main corridors. You know, you can't really park on the side of the road where you would find like a Walmart or something. Yeah, like that's usually pretty uncommon. So let's get rid of all of that. Perfect. And then finally on this side of town as well. Moving on now, the next few minutes are going to be spent on zoning up our little town. So there's going to be a lot of residential within the town itself. It's going to be fairly densely populated within the town, but as we fan out farther and farther away from the center of the town, it's going to become less and less dense. We'll move on to, you know, more of like ranch territory where the houses are going to be a lot more spread out. And a bit later in this episode, I'm going to detail in, you know, some pastures and farm fields, that kind of thing. The stuff you would typically see in central Florida, more or less. All right, and after a little bit of zoning here and there, this is pretty much the final result of the town. So as you can see, we have our nice little downtown in the middle here, which eventually fans out to some more low density suburbs, which then eventually fans out into more of cattle country. And you have to understand that Central Florida consists mostly of, you know, citrus fruit plantations, cattle farms, a lot of pastures. You know, a lot of agriculture goes on in Central Florida, you know, contrary to what you might think is happening in Florida. You know, normally we think about Miami and the beaches and all the craziness. Well, a lot of Central Florida is quite, well, I would say, relaxing. So as you can see, this is our town, and just outside of downtown, I've left this big empty space here, and that is for a reason. This would not be small town America without there being a baseball field somewhere in town. And luckily for us, we now have these beautiful baseball infields made by Sully. So these are textures that you can plop on the ground, and then they can be nicely detailed to your heart's content. So I'm just gonna go, I guess, kind of right in the middle of this lot here, And then we're gonna plop down this wonderful texture. And then around the texture, I will go ahead and, oh, I guess I gotta use here. Yeah, let's go in here. And then let's just plop down some manicured grass all around this beautiful baseball pitch texture. So, you know, I'm not an expert, but I'm gonna try to decorate this field as nicely as I possibly can. I'm gonna get like a nice outfield, I think is what this would be called. You know, I know nothing about baseball, almost as much as I don't know about golf. So there we go. There's our nice baseball pitch. It's looking a little plain though. I think there's a few things that we may be able to do to this to spruce it up. One, I am going to build, here, let's convert that into pavement. And then let's have a beautiful parking lot. Just like so. Of course, that is absolutely necessary. Now let's get started with a fence. So I'm gonna head into Find It. Let's search for the word fence. And I'm gonna search for just a plain Jane chain linked fence. Now there's different kind of fences that we can build in with this tool. So you have like these props here. This kind of tells you in which category they are. But then there is fences that have a picture of a road here. And what's really cool about these fences is they're actually a network instead of, you know, having to select them as a prop and then go into your line tool and so on. So I'm gonna try to find a nice little chain linked fence in a network kind of configuration. So this would work. However, it is a little fancy for my liking, especially for a little community park. No, that's a little high. Let's see here. There, I found this. Fence residential low. Still a bit fancy, but I still think it looks good. Let's go for it. So I'm gonna start off, I guess, somewhere around here, and I'm basically just gonna go around the entire perimeter of our pitch. There we go. We'll start off with that. And then in the back here of the pitch, normally you would find a much taller fence, you know, to protect the crowd from any projectiles. So let's see here. I know that there's some pretty tall fences. Maybe residential high. Nope, there's an even higher one. I think it might be industrial. Let's try and see. Yeah, look at that. We have fence industrial high. I think this would fit the bill. So from this point on, I'm going to leave a bit of a gap just so, you know, the players can actually go in and out of the field. And we're going to do a little something like this. There. Perfect. Look at that. Awesome. And now if I go back and find it, I'm going to search for the word sport, as this appears to contain all of our sport equipment. You know, we have like some huge stadium stands, some bleachers, all kinds of stuff. Now this is a tiny little, you know, a little community baseball field, so I'm not going to build anything major, but we're going to have some bleachers here on either side, so you'll have your home and your visiting bleachers, just like so. And then we have a bunch of other baseball related props, I believe. Yeah, so look at that. We have a scoreboard, which is awfully small. Which orientation should it go? I think it should go like this, yeah. Now if I were to put it like way in behind here, that might be a little far. I think instead what I'll do is build it. How would I make this visible to everybody? I could put it... How would this work, guys? Maybe if I put it like over here so it's visible to everybody in these stands, and then I'll do the same kinda over here. Yeah, I guess that looks all right. It shouldn't block the view of anybody. And then of course we can't forget our sports park sign. to tell us that this is clearly a baseball field. There we go. And that is pretty well the gist of it. I don't think we need anything more than that. I mean, baseball fields, especially little tiny baseball fields just in a small community, you don't really have much to them. It's mostly just a field with some, you know, painted lines and things like that. So I think I'm good with this. Now maybe just to add a little bit more pizzazz, we can go here, hang on a second. We can go in here and we can build maybe some dirt textures. Let's see here. Yeah, maybe we'll do that riverbed thin. And then we can, you know, maybe build out like a little desire path out to the field here. And then I'll do the same over here, just like so. There, so adds a little bit of detail, you know, why not? And then kind of curious, what if I were to add some of these textures, you know, kind of in the outfield? Yeah, guess I could. You know, maybe we have some low-lying areas where pools of water would accumulate and kind of stain the grass a little bit. There, that's not bad at all. Cool. So these baseball fields are a little bit bigger than what I anticipated. I was kind of thinking of building like 3 or 4 within here. So that's not going to work, but I wonder if I could build something else maybe. Let's explore what we have for parks. Oh, we could do a small playground. We could do a small playground like this, and then maybe a tennis court. I don't know, tennis courts are a little large. What about, oh nice, a skate park. Oh yeah, I think a skate park would be perfect here. Cool. And I think that'll do it. Now there's a number of other things I could build. You know, with having this searched as sports, we could do like a football field, although those are ploppable. So I think I'm okay with just the baseball field. I think this looks pretty cool. And now what I can do is go into my tree menu. Let's enable European and North American theme because there's trees that I like from both. We got some nice alders here. So then we can just simply go through, go through all of these empty spaces here in the back, and then we can just go crazy with the trees and then beautify this whole area. So we're gonna mix it up. Let's get some oak in here, some nice mature oak trees. Nope, I don't think there's any birch in Florida. Is there linden? I'm not too sure. Somebody suggested that I Google what is native to Florida, and I have not done so. I'm sorry, guys. But it wouldn't be Florida without a couple palm trees here and there, right? Let's build some little palm trees, some Florida palms as well. And with that, I think we have a beautifully decorated sports park in a small town community, just like our little town here. Awesome. I'm pretty happy with this, guys. What do you think? All right, there we go. We got our baseball pitch. Very USA-like. But now I would like to focus my attention out of town a little bit. So this would kind of be outside the city limits. And we have a big chunk of land here. Now, if you notice on the map of Arcadia, there's actually an airport right outside the town. Now, an airport is challenging to build in Cities Skylines right now because if I search the word airplane, the only models that will appear are, you know, big like 747 Antonov 225, you know, airplanes. You know, so I mean, that wouldn't be very realistic to plop into town like this. Unfortunately, there's no little general aviation planes, but that's okay. I think we can still go ahead and build somewhat of an airport. It's just going to be much simpler than what we will hopefully find one day. I think it would be really cool to have some actual general aviation planes in the game at some point. But that's all right. What we'll do is just remove a whole bunch of trees in a straight line, as straight as we can get it. And what we will do here is just simply have a grass runway. So actually, I think I'll do 2 runways. I'll do a north to south, east to west kind of configuration. Just like this. Maybe I'll do it a little wider, you know, just so you have a nice, safe landing strip. And for those who may not know, grass runways are pretty common, especially out in the country. So we'll start off with that. And then just to add an extra little layer of detail, what I'll do here is build a small road that will come into our airfield. And then I didn't even check if we have any hangars. Do we have any hangars? We have a hang around area. Nope. What about maybe a little warehouse? Yeah, we have a little warehouse. I guess that could do. Yeah, that's not terrible, I guess. There, how about we have a couple little industrial buildings, and then these will act as hangars. So I was gonna build the airport just like this and leave it at that, but then I figured, you know what, I'm sure there's something I can do to add a little bit more detail to this. So then I discovered these lines, so I'm gonna build some lines all over the airport to signify exactly where the runways are. I've seen this on a number of grass fields in a few spots. You know, it's literally just like white paint on grass, kind of like what you would see in a soccer field. And well, at this point, I noticed that I hadn't flattened the terrain quite well, so I'm gonna do that to make these lines appear all nice and flat. And then in just a moment here, I am gonna actually proceed and build some runway markings using, I think, some sort of like cement tile or something. You know, just something to display some numbers on one of the runways. So I've seen this too in a number of grass fields. You know, they'll sometimes paint the runway numbers on the beginning of the field just so you know that this is a grass runway. This is where you're supposed to be landing, and you're not just landing in some random farmer's field. So, because, you know, if you're landing on a grass runway, sometimes it can be very hard to spot from the sky because you're looking for a field in particular among a million other fields. It's just green on green, right? So sometimes you have these little markings that can help you out. So I don't know. This is just a quick little details, nothing too extravagant to just make it look like an airport, just a little bit more. But with all that being said, I'm really hopeful that we're going to get some airport props, and you know, eventually I imagine there's going to be an airport DLC. It would be pretty crazy not to, but I'm sure at that point we'll get all kinds of aviation goodies. And moving on, after the airport, I'm going to move on a little bit outwards from the town, and now I'm going to work on the surrounding farmers' fields. Now, luckily, there's a ton of fertile land over in this corner of the map, so unfortunately, I wasn't really thinking here. I built a bunch of like animal pastures rather than arable fields, so I kind of wasted a bit of this fertile land, but whatever, that's no big deal. We have a ton of it. So yeah, I'm just gonna take the next couple of minutes and get some farmers' fields all built up around the town just to get the overall look that I'm going for. And I'm gonna do a little bit of general terraforming too in just a moment. And then we're gonna wrap things up this episode. So yeah, this was a really fun one, guys. I had a ton of fun building this city, and you know, we're going to expand on it in the future, I'm sure. Maybe not on the town itself, but around the town. There's a ton of stuff that I have planned, and yeah, we'll just see how the area develops from there. So anyways, now what I'm doing is I'm clearing some of the trees that I just plopped down to create some more farmers fields, but in a different variety, because of course all of the fields in the game at the moment are the same color. Unfortunately, it's kind of lame. But you know, you can manually build these green fields, and then let's say if you're building like a citrus plantation, for example, like orange trees, which there is a lot of in Florida, you can just go and plop a bunch of apple trees in a row in some of these fields, and you know, you can get some pretty authentic looking apple or orange orchards, I guess you could call them. But anyways, that'll pretty much do it for this episode. Stay tuned to the very end, by the way, guys, because I got some cinematics of everything that we've built here today. Now, the very last thing I want to do in this build is, in real life, there seems to be a little industrial park here in Arcadia, just along these railroad tracks. Most of it seems like it is like half abandoned, you know, there's not much going on. So what I've done is I've laid some commercial and some office zoning just to make things productive, I guess. But I am going to, what am I trying to build here? A transformer station. I'm going to build a transformer station here, and then I'm going to take a moment to string out some high voltage power lines that are going to make their way, I guess, right over here, and then from here they're going to tee off. I'll get to the other side of the tee in just a moment. And what I'm going to do is just run some high voltage transmission lines across the map, north to south, just like this. Oh, nice. I can actually do this right through a farmer's field. That's pretty cool. And, oh, yeah, that's right. I have some transmission lines coming through here already that I totally forgot about. All right, well, what I will do in this case is I will run these transmission lines outside of the map, just like so, and then I will connect both of these two lines together, just like this. So now we have connections to either side of the map. So currently, like I said, we're importing power at 100%, but I'm hoping maybe in the next episode we will build a power plant somewhere on the map. Anyways, we'll have to get to that eventually and start producing our own power. But for now, I figured, you know, might as well just make like a mini little industrial park here. I wanted to actually build some industries, but if I check my wind direction, it is blowing like quite hard directly right in the middle of the city. So that is not really ideal. And another thing I have to mention too, in real life, the land surrounding this little river in real life Arcadia seems to be protected, as there's nothing built up directly on either side of the creek. So I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm not gonna be building anything directly on this little river here. I'm gonna leave some green space, and you know, it'll be like a little nature reserve, I guess. And with that being done, guys, that is going to be it for this town. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I had a really fun time building this one, guys. This was really cool. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it too. If you did, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And of course, don't forget to check out my Patreon page, as there's some pretty cool perks on there. Guys, thank you so much again for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.
Fucking no,